Okay, so I'm going to be covering the lesson of reciprocals, and the question says determine the exact expressions for the 6 trigonometric ratios for 120 degrees. So I started off with what we already know, so I drew the cast rule and I drew my special triangles. Okay, so we're going to now start with our 6 trigonometric ratios. So we know that sine, cos, and tan are our first 3, and then their inverses are cosecant, secant, and cotangent. Okay, so it gives us 120 degrees, and we can approximate 120 degrees in the third quadrant because 90 degrees would be right here. So we'll just approximate that 120 degrees is over here. Okay, to find this area over here, we're just going to subtract 90 from 120 degrees. So 120 minus 90, which gives us 30 degrees. So we know that this angle over here is 30 degrees. Just label this 120 degrees. Okay. So to find this angle, all we need to do now is subtract 30 from 90 degrees. And we get 60 degrees. Okay, so now that we know this angle, we can start finding our 6 trigonometric ratios. So sine 60 degrees, cos 60 degrees, tan 60 degrees, and so on. Okay, so we know that sine is opposite over hypotenuse, which would give us, for this part, we're going to use our special triangles, and since we have 60 degrees, we know that we're going to use the first triangle because it has 60 degrees as well. So we can use that to find our trigonometric ratios. So when we look at opposite of 60 degrees, we get root 3 over the hypotenuse, which is 2, and we just do that for the remaining. So cos 60 degrees would be adjacent over hypotenuse. And we know that cos and the other expressions will also be negative because 120 degrees falls under the third quadrant, which means that only sine will be positive in this quadrant, and so everything else will be negative. So we know that cos will be negative, and this would be 1 over 2. Tan would be opposite over adjacent, which is 1. Sorry, it's 3 over 1. You know this is negative. You can also write this as negative root 3. And for the remaining 3, they're just inverses of the first 3. So cosecant is an inverse of sine, so we know that's going to be 2 over root 3. Secant is the inverse of cos 60 degrees. Don't forget to write 60 degrees. And we know this is also negative. It's going to be 2 over 1. Cotangent is the inverse of tangent, so we know that's going to be negative 1 over root 3. And those are your 6 trigonometric ratios.